agree with all the mottos, and I mean, there are still some controversies that we'll have to settle later on.
There are big questions that have to be raised here in France, and very difficult and some dangerous questions as well. But today is a day for solidarity. It is a day for the people to show their support, but it's also a day for officialdom as well. And we can show you the pictures where the leaders, President Hollande, joined by some 50 world leaders, presidents, kings, queens, prime ministers, senior ministers from nearly 50 countries from around the world, joining him here in Paris today. They were at the Élysée Palace, where they were received by Francois Hollande, and now they are taking on Voltaire, which is one of the main routes toward Place de la Nation, which is where the two-mile march, a few kilometers long, procession today will make its way through the French capital. It's hard for people to move out to the square. There are so many people who are trying to make their way. Some of these people have not moved at all. The crowd here is so tightly packed, and they are in the streets. I can look down to the streets that are moving into this, that lead into the square from all of these directions. This is where the people are trying to join the march, and from the other side of the city, these are the leaders who are trying to join the march, march as well. Leaders from around the world who are here, as David Cameron, the British Prime Minister, said, a day of solidarity, because all the leaders attending this march know that what was seen in France this week is a problem faced not just by France itself, but a problem faced in many European capitals, many Western capitals, and a problem that governments, officials, people, particularly in the Middle East, grapple with on a daily basis and have done so for many years. We're bringing you live coverage from all points of the march. I'm joined here by my colleagues at various points in the French capital, and Michel Hussein is at the very starting point on the other side of Place de la République.
And Lise, that cheer, that huge cheer that is coming up from the crowd now marks the fact that the march has begun. The police have allowed those at the head of the march to start streaming down Boulevard Voltaire, so Place de la République will slowly, very slowly, given the numbers of people gathered here, it will slowly empty and move along the route of the march. And there are chants, there is cheering, there is clapping, there is movement finally. All of these people who have waited so patiently and who are filling the side streets of this square for as far as I can see around it. They are now able to move with all of their fellow Parisians, their fellow Frenchmen and women who have gathered here to join this moment of solidarity, this moment of unity called by the government, but those participating come from all walks of life. And it is a very powerful moment to see them all start to move along the route of this march, to be here as part of an expression of so many different emotions that have gripped this country in the last few days, but are really coming together in this moment of unity. For most of those who are gathered, I can't estimate the numbers, but there are many, many thousands in the square that I'm looking down on. It is going to be a long time before some of them even begin to move, because the marchers are going to make slow progress. But fittingly, at the front of this march are the families of the 17 victims, those who paid the ultimate price in what France saw over the last few days. This is their moment. They will be joined along the route by the VIPs, Francois Hollande, Nicolas Sarkozy, the former president of France, and all of those leaders who have come from different parts of the world to show their support to France. Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, there alongside Francois Hollande today. But these events in France have touched a chord with many millions of people around the world, and the leaders are here as a symbol of that. So the first marchers setting off down Boulevard Voltaire. The march is underway. We will know eventually just how many people have joined this, but as it begins, there is no doubt that this is a remarkable moment in France's recent history, something that no one who has taken part in it, who has seen it with their own eyes today, will ever forget.
Michelle, thank you. So the march is beginning, and you can see the crowds moving here much more quickly, moving toward the other entrance. And let's just try to get a sense. These people are moving in the wrong direction.
We have to. I'm afraid we have to.
Yes. Let's just get a sense of why people are here. Someone with a Je suis Charlie. Are you French?
Yeah, I'm French.
And why did you come out today?
To stand for the French rights.
And what for you is the French rights?
The freedom. Je sais pas comment on dit liberté.
Liberté, oui.
La liberté d'expression.
Freedom of expression.
Yes.
Et qui d'autre? What other ones?
I don't know.
Yes. And for you?
I don't know.
The same.
The same, yes.
Do you feel threatened by what's happened this week in France?
Yeah, of course.
You think it could happen again?
Maybe. It's why we have to fight today to not that happen again.
Well, we'll let you make your way along here. You see people to Charlie. We are all Charlie. Here's the one from the British Magnus Shaw cartoon, Je suis Charlie. Let us just show these. This cartoon went around the world. The British cartoonist. A lot of people don't know that Charlie is named after Charlie Brown, the cartoon, and Charlie Brown with his head in his hands. And here the pencils. Je suis Charlie. Everywhere you look, you see the pencils. Do you speak English? No. Pourquoi vous êtes ici? Why did you come today? Pourquoi vous êtes?
Par solidarité avec les dessinateurs de Charlie.
Yes. Est-ce que vous, oui?
Tout petit, ouais.
So you've known the cartoonist since you were very small. So many people say this to us, that beaucoup de monde disent qu'ils sont parmi leur famille, les gens de...
Alors on a l'impression d'avoir perdu des amis, oui, des copains, ouais.
A lot of people say this. They have the feeling that in losing these four such well-known cartoonists, they've lost like a member of their family. Vous avez des craintes pour le futur? You have some problems, fears for the future?
J'espère que ça va s'arrêter là. Ouais.
Yes.
Voilà.
He hopes, this is what many people hope. They hope that it will end here. Let's see this gentleman here. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Are you here for the rally, obviously?
Obviously, yes.
And why are you here?
Why? Well, it's important to defend our freedom and the freedom of speech. So it's, very important and very, exciting to see all these people coming out and defend our freedoms.
And what do you do in Paris?
Well, I'm actually here a bit outside of Paris, and it's about 20 years now. So, and it's actually the first time that I see all the people really standing up, and that's very great.
And do you think they'll continue to stand up? Someone said to me this week, they said it's not just for 2 or 3 days we have to stand together. We'll have to stand together for a very long time.
Oh, I think it's definitely true that this has to be the case. If they do it now for 2 or 3 days, probably it will fade away a little bit, but I think it's really a pivotal moment and people will really continue to struggle for the freedoms and for freedom of speech. Yeah, I think so. It will continue. So what I heard around the offices and people I talk to, I think it's really, in French you say déclic. It's really an element which says we have to do more than just sit and wait and see. And it will happen and it will go away. It will not be no problem in the future. I think they think it's going to be a problem and they have to do more than just.
And do you think the people of France would put up with a lot of extra security?
Yes, I think so. They could do this. They will stand up. They will accept it. Anyway, if you look around it, Plan Vigipirate hasn't really been relieved a little, very much so far. So if you go to public transport, you always see security around. So I think it's part of the life. We have to see if it's getting too strong, if they try to make a patriot act à la française, probably.
Which is what happened in the United States after the attacks of September 11th.
So then probably it will be, but they have to find the right way. It will be very difficult to get this really properly sorted out then. Probably not accept that their freedom, then what they're standing up for now, will be restricted too much. And on the other hand, on the other side, So thank you.
Well, we'll let you continue in your march. People here making their way. Finally, we're able to leave. The police cordons have been cleared, and let's take a look at. This is not just a day of the people; it's a day also for officialdom. Francois Hollande at the head of the march, making his way down Avenue de Voltaire. Cameron, the British Prime Minister David Cameron is there. The German leader Angela Merkel. The leaders of Spain are in the crowds as well, of Italy, leaders from the Middle East, so many leaders who've gathered here today in a show of solidarity, a show of strength here in the French capital.